Denzel Washington is proud of his children. Why wouldn't he be? His youngest son, Malcolm Washington, just premiered his directorial debut with an adaptation of August Wilson's play, The Piano Lesson, which he co-wrote with Virgil Williams. In addition, the film stars his Denzel's eldest son, John David Washington, with his sister Katia serving as executive producer and Malcolm's twin sister Olivia, also having a role in the movie. Washington has been designated the custodian of Wilson's legacy by Constanza Romero, and with it, he has an overall deal with Netflix to produce all of Wilson's 10-play Pittsburgh cycle, also known as the Century Cycle. Set across several decades of the 20th century, it chronicles the experience and heritage of the African American community. His longtime producing partner, Todd Black, has collaborated with him for years on various projects, including the first 3 Wilson adaptations, Fences, 2016, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, 2020, and now, The Piano Lesson. Fences earned Black his first Oscar nom for Best Picture, alongside Washington, who became the first Black person in history to be nominated for producing and acting in the same year. The Piano Lesson, which also stars Samuel L. Jackson, Danielle Deadwyler, Ray Fisher, Corey Hawkins, and Michael Potts, is the most cinematic of 3 Wilson adaptations to date. Denzel Washington wants all of the Wilson films to feel unique. Each one is different, will be different, he says. Does that mean they are close to casting the main roles? The film is set in the second decade of the 20th century and tells the story of a few freed former enslaved African Americans in the North, dealing with migration and discrimination. Joe Turner opened on Broadway in 1988, directed by Lloyd Richards with a cast including Delroy Lindo and Angela Bassett. A Broadway revival, directed by Bartlett Sher, opened at the Belasco Theater in 2009 with Chad L. Coleman and Denai Gurira. Variety sat down with Black and Washington to discuss their long-standing partnership, their families growing up together, and what to expect from Washington's upcoming role in Ridley Scott's highly anticipated Gladiator II. How did the partnership with Todd Black and Denzel Washington begin? Todd Black: It all started in the Valley back in July 1989. I was a baby producer, and I really wanted to meet Denzel. At that time, I had never seen an actor like him, someone who didn't just act but lived the role. So, I kept bugging his agent, Ed Limato, to arrange a meeting. Finally, Ed gave me an hour with Denzel. And how did that first meeting go? Black: I was nervous but more excited than anything else. We sat down for lunch and Denzel asked me, "Why am I here?" I told him, "Because I want to work with you." He was kind, and he said something that's always stuck with me: when you read a script that makes your heart race and keeps you up all night, call me. That advice stuck with me through all my movies. Denzel: Can you talk about your son Malcolm and his journey as a filmmaker? Washington: I'm extremely proud of Malcolm. He went to AFI, one of the top film schools, and graduated #1 in his class. I think he did anyway, and that's what I've been telling everybody. From early on, I knew he had a vision. I've learned through my son the difference between making a film and being a filmmaker. I've directed 4 films. I had Todd to lean on, but I didn't know what to do necessarily. Malcolm has studied filmmaking. He's an academic. When he was younger, he would read my scripts and ask insightful questions. His mother is a huge film buff, so he, like all my kids, grew up watching movies. He always had a desire to make films, and now he's doing it. Todd: You've known Malcolm since he was young. What's it like seeing him follow in his father's footsteps? Black: I've known Malcolm since he was in Pauletta's stomach. I remember when Malcolm and his siblings came to my office when they were younger, maybe not even teenagers yet. Malcolm was the one asking all the questions about movies. He's always had a love for film. Seeing him grow into the visionary filmmaker he is today is amazing. He's worked hard, studied filmmaking at the highest level, and now he's creating incredible work. Cinephiles say you have a signature acting move, the single teardrop, like the one you showed in 1989's Glory. Washington: That's not a signature move. Signature move sounds like a go-to. In fact, I teared because the whip was wet and it actually hurt. It was a real tear. That's a true story. It was felt, and if you go back and look, they kept wetting everything down, and the felt was wet. And it was hitting me in the back, and it hurt. Black, how many takes did you do? Washington, I don't even know, or how he cut it, to be honest with you. He cut back and forth so many times, there's no telling what takes it is. All I know, it hurt. I wasn't crying, but it was a real tear. How did you land on Danielle Deadwyler and Ray Fisher? Washington, Bernice is such a complex character, and Danielle is just an extraordinary actress and person. Black, with Ray, if you saw the stage play, he was great there. We had the advantage of seeing him on stage. We had trouble getting him because he had other commitments. We just thank God for his agents. They were really helpful. We just stayed on it, because every time we talked about other actors that we weren't going to get, they didn't come close. I remember this conversation with Denzel and Malcolm. We were like, that's a good actor, but they're not Ray. It comes with time when an actor meets a role, or a role meets an actor, whatever they call it, and that's what that is for Ray. You must feel immense pride seeing your children thrive in filmmaking and acting. Washington, of course, as a parent, the dream is to see your children doing what they love and succeeding at it. And they're doing fantastic. My daughter is working in the West End in London, and my sons and daughter Katia are making waves in film. I'm proud of them, not just for their success but for the fact that they're doing it as a close-knit family, supporting each other. So, this is the greatest gift. That they're healthy, still humble. And working hard. And love each other, a tight unit. I'll smack them upside the head if they're not.